What's good, boys? How are you all going? So, I took two trades last night, and I thought I'd do a recap because we smacked TP on both of them. So, I actually took one long and one short. And before I get too deep into the details of what the trades that I took actually were and why I took them, I want to talk about sort of how this relates to the video I made yesterday. So, the video I made yesterday, I was talking about how I feel like I go through cycles of feeling shit about myself when I lose and not being in a good mood, not wanting to do the things I want to do. And then when I have a winning day, feeling like shit and feeling like I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to just do anything, right? Basically, just letting my trading performance dictate my happiness. That's what I was talking about. And I was making that video kind of from the perspective of me after I had two losses in a row on the day. And now this is the complete opposite of that. So now I've taken two wins on the day. And how do I feel now? Well, the truth is I feel good about it. And I'm in a good mood. And it's just as hard to control your emotions from that point of view when you have a winning day. So my biggest thing about today, well, it was last night, but it's today's session, right? Is that how am I going to control my emotions the next time I take a trade if it's a loss? Am I going to feel frustrated that my P&L isn't anymore at what it is at now? Um, I know, I know this sounds crazy and maybe it sounds like I'm just overthinking too much, but this is the truth. I have days where I have winning days like last night, and I'm going about my day. I'm happy, but that's not sustainable because if I take a losing day and I feel shit, that's not the way to live, right? That's not the way to live. I should be in the same. I should be happy today, regardless of what happened. So that's just something I kind of wanted to touch on. It's kind of the exact opposite of what I was talking about yesterday. So I'll be honest, like I'm in a good mood, and I don't think that every day of my life that I have a losing day I'm in a bad mood. That's really not the case. But when I have a really bad losing day, that's when it kind of gets to my head. You know what I mean? And overall, right, last night I traded really good. I did, and I can still be proud of that. You can be proud of yourself. And that's what I am. So I'll go over the actual trades that I took, right? The first trade was a 2 minute inversion. And basically, the reason I took this first trade was because I was bullish. I was bullish up to these highs all the way up here, which were ended up getting taken quite a while down the line. But I wanted to see these highs. And coming into the session, we were so close to these highs. It just made no sense to me why we would come all the way up here and then reverse all the way down here. You know what I mean? That's why I was bullish to these highs. So we ended up taking those highs, but there was something we had to do first, and that was we had to take out these data lows. So this was 8:30 news. I don't remember what news it was anymore. Sorry, but we took out these data lows down here from news. I wanted to take potentially shorts down there, but I was bullish, so I waited for the data lows. Then we got a 2 minute inversion there above. That was my entry. The reason for that was also, so we had the data lows. We also were coming out of this. I know this is a very small gap, right? But we were coming out of this imbalance. And on ES, we had an SMT as well, which eventually got, it got broken. It was no longer an SMT, but for the time being, when I entered this trade, it was. So that trade went pretty good. Like I didn't need to see all the way up to this imbalance for my TP because I was just going for a 1-to-1, and I put my stop at this low. Actually, hella lucky because like my stop wasn't even on the low here, so I potentially wouldn't have even hit TP on this. And like when we hit my TP here, so this was the candle that got me out of the trade. Before we even got back to there, we wicked all the way down here. So I almost got stopped at break even. And the reason my executions aren't on is because I'm not logged into my broker anymore. But I've put all the executions in my Discord if you want to look at those. If you don't believe me. But yeah, I do have the executions on my Discord. And on my Instagram as well. Then the second trade was this 3 minute. And I also took one break even trade that was like literally about 5 points away from my TP. And that kind of got on my nerves. Because, you know, I got to pretty high balance on my account. It was like $52,000 on the account. So I'd never even seen the 52 before that 2,000 figure. So that was kind of exciting. And I'm not at that now because on this second trade, I actually de-risked. And, you know, looking back at it in hindsight, I wish that I didn't. But we came back up into this 15-minute imbalance. Let me show you that. This one here. We came up into that. And then we closed below this 3 minute gap. So we were delivering from this higher time frame gap. We closed below this gap. And ES had taken out all these lows and these lows. So I thought, you know what, man, we're probably going to do the same here on NQ. The reason I de-risked was because news was coming out in like 2 minutes from my entry. So I entered at 9:54, maybe. Oh no, it would have been 9:57. I would have entered this trade. So 3 minutes before news dropped. So that's why I de-risked, just in case I had to close my trade before the news hit. But we had so much volatility, and also I think like when we've got a lot of volatility, when the candles are genuinely just bigger, like when I have my marking outs of where I think price is going to go, when the candles are just genuinely getting to those levels faster, and we're just moving quickly, that's when I seem to trade the best. When we're moving really slow, like up here, right, we're just having these little candles creeping towards certain levels, I often find in those situations, I get stopped out. And that's genuinely just like an intuition thing. Like, it just feels to me like when price is moving quick, I trade a lot better. And I think that's partially because my entries are based purely off of momentum. When I enter a trade, I'm basically entering with the hopes that we're invalidating a fair value gap trader's plan. Someone who thinks we're going to have a breaker structure, retrace to a fair value gap, and continue. I am basically taking the trade when that trade gets stopped out. And I want to see that happen with momentum. So that's when we have volatility. I think that my trades just genuinely go a lot better. But yeah, this one hit TP, and I only risked like $200 on this trade because I just did not want to be in the trade when this news candle dropped, and you can see like we just hit the TP before the news candle. So I don't really mind that I de-risked. I think I would have been mad if I de-risked and ended up getting stopped out by that news candle. You know what I mean? So nothing to complain about there really. But overall, man, I think I read price really well. I think that price action was really nice, and it's different for everybody. Like everybody has a different strategy. So for me, price action today was really good, but for you guys, you might have thought price action was bad. Like, but you know, the way that I trade and the strategy that I use, I found today to be a really good day. Everything seemed to be delivering from places like it feels like it should be. I know that the market doesn't need to do anything that you want it to do, but today it felt like in my head, even when I wasn't entering trades, where I thought certain things were going to happen, it was happening. But yeah, I wrote some notes last night while I was laying in bed because I didn't want to film a recap because I was too tired. Um, oh, I think I'm gonna scrap the road to the payout idea. I sort of started this series a little bit of like road to payout, and I honestly think that that's just not a good thing for my psychology. So I'm still gonna keep doing trade recaps. I'm just gonna ditch the road to the payout idea and maybe delete it from the titles. I don't know, but like it's not a good way of thinking of like road to payout. Like this is the goal and you're trying to get here. I need to be focusing more on the process, and I feel like since I started making those videos about road to payout, I feel like my focus was so much more on the P&L and I wasn't focusing on just taking good trades and being patient. So I'm probably going to ditch the road to the payout series, and I'll still do trade recaps, but maybe I'll do trade recaps more when there's a bit more interesting stuff going on. Like I deem this to be an interesting session, taking 2 wins. I deem like a bad session, taking a couple losses, that's something worthy of a recap. But if I just take like one trade, I might just put that in the Discord and on the Instagram or something like that, right? And yeah, look, let me know, guys, if you want me to talk about anything else in these videos. It's really just me. This is just me journaling my trades. I really just making these recaps as a way of me remembering what I did, and I'm looking back on what I did now. Like I'm just doing it while recording basically, and I'm just talking about it. But this is really just a way of reflecting for me. Also, if you guys want my trading journal, let me know because I've almost finished it, and I can just link that to you guys in the Discord or something like that. It's almost done, and I could probably send it out now, to be honest with you. I just need to make it public. So, what else did I have? You know what's crazy is like, because I trade at night, I, so I finish trading and then I literally just lay in bed. Like my bed is literally there, and I just go and I get into bed. I brush my teeth and I go to bed, and I cannot sleep, bro. Like I am so wired from just focusing on trading. Like I've just been sitting here staring at my screen for 2 hours, thinking, using the most brain power I've used all day. And then I just have to lay in bed and just close my eyes and just try and sleep like nothing happened, right? But it's a crazy experience where like it's kind of like meditate. Like I kind of have to get into a meditative state to fall asleep, and I have so many ideas. Like this was all shit that I wrote down while I was trying to sleep, and I had to keep getting my phone out and writing it down. Because I was like, well, if I don't write this down now, I'm just going to forget. And then in the morning, I'm going to have absolutely nothing to talk about anymore. So, I think it's crazy. Like, I feel like the reason you have good ideas when you're falling asleep is because it's the only time that you let your brain just chill. For me, anyway, I just don't have any point of the day where I just genuinely let my mind relax. And that's why I seem to have crazy ideas when I'm trying to sleep. These, I mean, don't get me wrong, these aren't crazy ideas, they're just YouTube video ideas, but I think you guys know what I mean, okay? So, yeah, overall, boys, took some good trades today, or yesterday, whatever you want to call it. I feel like every video I almost sneeze. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with myself, and all I'm thinking about is, trying not to be over the moon about this sort of stuff, right? I'm back at the highest P&L I've been on my account. I'm about 2% away from a payout. And it's really just about, if tonight I take some more trades and I take some losses, how am I going to feel? And I just don't want to be living this way of going from highs to lows all the time. I'm trying to find some balance. I'm working on like meditating, and I need to get more into reading books and just having some other hobbies as well. So that's just what's going on for me. Appreciate you guys for watching. Join up the free Discord if you want. And yeah, that's basically it, boys. Thanks for watching.